Welcome to Power Parenting. As always, our goal is to connect church and home by equipping the next generation of believers one home at a time. Today, I'm joined with Joe Landi, and today our topic is the 10-second principle.
10-second principle.
Joe, what in the world is the 10-second principle?
10-second principle, Bobby, has a lot to do, everything to do with conversation and shutting down conversation or encouraging conversation with our kids. And so the 10-second principle is the first 10 seconds that your kid brings you something or tells you something is the most important 10 seconds. It's going to either tell your kid, yes, you're a safe person to talk to, they're going to want to converse with you more, have conversation with you more, or they're going to be like, nah, I don't want to talk to mom and dad because that wasn't very good. And really, this came about a couple years ago when I was meeting with a high school student, young man. He was going through some trouble, some legal trouble. And in the course of our conversation, it was very clear that while he had a rough relationship with his parents, clearly communication was not well. And so I was doing what I could to encourage him and bless him and point him back to his parents. But towards the end of our conversation, I said to him, you know what? I'm teaching a parenting seminar this Sunday. What kind of advice would a high school student like you, I just happened to ask him this question, what would you say? And he said, you know what, Joe, tell parents that not to freak out when their kids tell them stuff. And that's always stuck with me because, again, we coined it the 10-second principle. I feel like when kids get in trouble and they have enough courage to actually go to their parents and talk to their parents, that first 10 seconds, if you blow up and you get real mad or real angry, that tells your kid, like, hey, I'm not interested in conversation. You just told me something that was really, really intense and I didn't want to hear it, and now I've got to fix it. And so that's really the 10-second principle, holding your emotions.
Holding it in.
Yes.
Take a deep breath. Freak out in your head.
Yes, exactly.
And one thing we want to encourage parents too, that first 10 seconds is seek the Lord.
Yes.
Say, hey, God, I don't know how to respond.
Right.
I need your help.
Right.
And those 10 seconds to go,
yes.
Jesus, I need you to help me through this. And then you start into...
Yeah, because even in the first 10 seconds, your kid may not actually explain everything as clearly as they should. And so if you're jumping to conclusions and you're assuming things, you're in trouble because that may not be the whole story. And so, like you said, holding your breath, praying, asking follow-up questions, that's huge. So
first 10-second principle is a key for conversations, specifically when kids bring you something maybe good, maybe bad. But there's two keys that I want to talk about. You already mentioned one of them. There's two keys for the 10-second principle. The first one's what?
Don't freak out. Don't freak out, as I just mentioned. And easier said than done. Even with my own kids, my son Logan, I think it was a year ago or 2 years ago, he came home from school and, Dad, I didn't finish my math test today. I've got to finish it tomorrow. I said, why didn't you finish your math test today? Well, I got on some games before the test was done. I said, what? And I freaked out. I blew up. I said, are you kidding me? You got on games and what? And I could see immediately him just kind of shutting down. Now, that's not to say that he shouldn't have been doing video games. He shouldn't have been doing that stuff. But what I just communicated to him was, if you confess, and here was my son being honest and open and trying to tell me something, but I blew up, what that tells him is, okay, I'm not going to do that again because Dad's just going to freak out, and so I need to go figure this out myself or hide this from him. And the last thing I want is for my son to hide from me or my kids to hide from me something that they've got going on. I want them to run to me so I can help them. So I'm not celebrating their issue, but I'm trying to remember to celebrate that they were honest. So in that moment, I should have said to him, hey, thank you so much for being open and honest with me. Help me understand what happened today, and then worked with him. But of course, the emotions got in the way.
It doesn't negate or get him off the hook. The first 10-second principle is for you not to freak out so that he knows I can go to Dad with everything, anything.
Absolutely.
Because if you shut it down, the next time, they're probably not going to come to you. So the first,
don't freak out.
First key is don't freak out. The second key is don't fade out.
Yes, I like that.
So don't fade out means your kids may come to you with something they're super proud of or excited about. Maybe even younger kids that we're busy, we got stuff going on, and so it's easy for us to just fade out and just ignore them or blow them off. And when we do that, it's just as damaging. Like I came to Dad with this amazing thing that I love, and he does not care. So when I have good stuff, like Dad doesn't care, so why would I go to him? So don't fade out. Charlie, I failed miserably at this just a few weeks ago. My oldest son was playing with his buddies. He had found this dolly that was in the driveway because we were moving stuff, and he flipped it down and put skateboards on it. He made like a Mario Kart like thing out of this dolly. Nice. And I walk into the backyard, and the first, like, he is super proud of his dad. You got to see this thing. And the first thing I say is, why do you have my dolly? Why are you jacking around with my stuff? Like, and immediately I saw his face just go, whoops. And I did it in front of his friends. And so I failed. I had to go have conversations after him. I was like, buddy, I didn't know you spent all afternoon building this thing. I saw, like, it's not, anyways.
Right.
It wasn't a toy. Like, I told him that, like, this is a thing. Anyways.
But it was important to him.
But it was important to him, and he was excited about it, and immediately I crushed it.
Right.
Now, we don't have to do it every single time. There's times where we don't have to be like, oh, yay, you got a C on your math test or whatever. That's not what we're saying. But we know those moments when our kids come to us excited about it. Take 10 seconds.
Right.
Don't fade out. Don't freak out.
Eye contact is huge in those moments. Giving them your attention. Absolutely, man. I'm with you. I like that. Don't fade out. That's a recent one. That's good.
So 2 keys of the 10-second principle. Don't freak out. Don't fade out.
That's right.
The funniest thing is we talk to parents about this all the time, Joe. And when parents catch this principle and they communicate it with their kids and their kids know it, and I love when you have parents go, my kid comes to me now when they have something and they're like, hey, Dad, you're going to need 10 seconds.
So, Logan, my son, has coined it the TSP. Dad, you're going to need to work on that TSP, 10-second principle. So, oh, my gosh.
10-second principle is a powerful tool that you can take today in your home. Look, we are honored to walk with you as we strive to equip the next generation of believers, one home at a time.